Greetings. Can you ask Mooji to give us in Israel some words of wisdom about the Arab-Israeli conflict? Please, ? I know he is busy with the retreat, but we really can use anything right now since it has become crazy living here. Zohar. Can you ask Mooji to give us in Israel some words of wisdom about the Arab-Israeli conflict? As long as there are Arabs and Israelis or English or this or that, conflict coming there at some point. Yeah. Where you have identity, you'll have some conflict with somebody. In the world of identity, conflict comes, Even you don't know how it comes about. And some people have been living in some countries for years, side by side, as neighbors, helped each other, children play with each other, and out of nowhere it seems to come. Some kind of conflict, nobody knows how it came about even. They're still scratching their heads years after it goes, how did it happen, all of this? That from a seemingly peaceful community where we did not know who was one, who was Serbian, who was Christian, who was this, whatever. This conflict arose, and what terror it comes. And so when we are strongly identified personally, Maya has her freest reign. You understand? When we are so identified personally, steeped in tradition, in race, in religious differences, in gender differences, with agenda differences, with everything, it's a breeding ground for conflict. And it don't think it's going to come in the way that you expect. It come like a thief in the night. It can come, you see. And what suffering it bring? What madness, And I know he is busy with retreat, but we really can use anything right now, since it has become crazy living here. And for everybody it becomes crazy living in identity at some point. You see, what can stop such a thing? It is very difficult to talk about these things, you see, because they are shimmering with opinions. Every party have some justifications for their outlook. The Arabs and the Jews, they are descended from the same lineage. They come. If we bring those points back, bring to the place of meeting point, we have some here, no? Who was the father of them? Was it Abraham. They worship the same God, come from the same background, call different names of God. And any other conflict we can look, but this is Behind sometimes even the fiercest battles and brutalities, there is a hidden love there. It never get a chance to breathe, like something leaves it for last. Yeah, let everything else come out first. All the vile, the bile, all of that. There's always love. Love is our deepest connection. But sometimes we have to fight somehow to clear ourselves of the debris we create through the mind. And even we, how I can talk about this thing, Can we go back as far as, can we bring it back to consciousness? Because if we stay on the level of person, of Israeli and Palestinian and this type, if we stay at this level, we cannot meet, because this is where we divide and so on. To meet in any conflict, you must go back to the root. You must come back at least to consciousness. You must come to presence. When you come to presence, then you don't have to solve things. They dissolve by themselves, in fact. But who is going to hear this thing, you see? We want to meet as politicians. Politicians cannot solve things. And perhaps the conflict it starts, go back to the original thing, is some nonsense thing. I was once watching one program on television. No? The program was called Neighbors from Hell. In England we have great programs. Anyhow, this one episode, there was these two people had to go to court. Two men had to go to court. And they were friends. They decided to buy houses next to each other in the country. They bought two houses next to each other. Their families are there. And then one of them planted a hedge with some of the trees we have here. They grow fast-growing trees because there's too much light coming and they want to plant. But he didn't talk to his neighbor about it. He planted them. And in the beginning it was kind of, hey, why you plant? Oh, no, it's okay. Then the plants start to grow. Then it blocks the light completely from the other men. So he came and said, listen, your plants are blocking my light from my house. But he says, yeah, but what am I to do about it? He said, but you can cut some of them. And I don't want to cut my trees, they look beautiful. Yeah, but I cannot get no light in my house. And so some little things start and then something like this happened. And then eventually they stopped talking to each other. And then the children were playing together, the wives were talking for a bit. Then they told the children, don't play with these children, don't you to play over there anymore. Then the wife come in and don't want you to talk to her anymore. She's all part of it. And how dare you call my husband this? And then everybody like this, no? So eventually now this goes to court. It goes to court. After many, many years it goes to court. And in court, one of the men now, they call the one who is accusing. And then they ask him, they're questioning him, asking him some questions about how it started. And he kept doing like this. So he says, what, are you okay, Mrs. Yes, I'm okay. So, so how did it, who planted it, where did it planted and stuff like this. The first tree was put where? And he says, like this. And they called and they found that he couldn't remember how the conflict started. He was asking his wife how we started arguing. How did we start this thing? She couldn't remember also. Then they tried to make up some dates and he was writing them in his hand because he couldn't remember what they're fighting about. Just about the trees, but that's not where it started. And so when they asked the question, he was kind of looking to see if he could remember what it is about. But the anger was still there, but what was the reason for the anger he could not find. And this is the silliness, you see, of mind. What are you fighting about? Can you remember the time when you were not fighting, when you were best friends? Can you remember this time? You see? Because once the ego gets in there, sometimes you go to a party together at some neutral place and your enemy friend gives a joke and you find yourself laughing until you remember it's my enemy. Oh, I'm not laughing. Because something has to keep something up to lose face. I don't want to lose face. I don't want to laugh at his jokes. I don't want to let him to see me being happy next to him. This is it. And many conflicts, if you look into the root of them again, it's some nonsense thing. Not all, but... And also they lose the power to say, I'm sorry, or I made mistake, I was too harsh. They can't say. And one of the most beautiful things is when you can say, I made mistake, I am sorry, please forgive me. It's one of the most powerful things you can say. Because you're standing with someone with a sword in their hand, and if you can say, I'm sorry, I was the one who made the first mistake, the sword can become a bunch of flowers very quickly. In Jamaica also we had one program I was watching. Some university students were there discussing about the different groups and Rastafarians and so on like this. And one girl stood up and was making some statement about Rastafarians. And then one Rastaman got up and said, excuse me, you are talking rubbish. Have you ever been to this community? No, sir, I have not there. Then how can you speak as though you have been there? And then, she got up and she says, please forgive me, because please forgive me and thank you for correcting me. And suddenly it was so powerful. It was so powerful because the humility was more powerful than the anger. And he just said, it's okay. You're young, he said like this. But the anger had changed, you see. It doesn't grow. And when you have pride, people say, no, it wasn't. I said this. I've been there. And I haven't been there. No, okay, my brother's been there. And like this, it happened like that. If you are able to say and to admit, I was wrong about this. Yes, I spoke too quickly. I judged you, and I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Touch their feet. Please forgive me. Uncle, please forgive me. Sister, please forgive me. I spoke wrong. And see what can happen. When you lose the ability, the humanity, the humility to say, I made a mistake. I misjudged you. I'm wrong. Please look into your heart and forgive me. If you're not able to do this, you're not even human yet. Every one of us has the power in us to change things like this. To change things like this. You may not be able to change your nation, but you can change something in your life. Because it took one human being, who had the humility, who had the courage to look into themselves. Someone like the Buddha or something. And because of what they look and the light that shone out of their own insides, then thousands of years later, human beings who are just born now are becoming Buddhists, Christians, because of the power of that light. For someone who say, forgive them. Like that. So forgiveness is at the heart for me of the human greatness. To say, look, I am sorry I did this thing, I should not have done this. Sometimes that will work more powerfully than 100 politicians at a table. You see. So I cannot put it in some simple say, they're going to go and say, I'm sorry. Because sometimes even after sorry, you may still have bloodshed for a while. Like if the fan is spinning and you switch it off, the blades may still continue turning for a while. But you've cut the juice and it will come to stop. How you can cut this juice, you see. Don't expect that somehow because you say sorry it puts everything right. But it begins to. It makes a space, it makes an opportunity. And we have to be patient also. You cannot force people. You cannot fight for peace and make real peace. Because real peace is something you must win inside your own self. When you fight for peace, it's a one-person fight. You must fight inside first. The one who found that peace showed a way for all of mankind to follow. So I cannot give you just flip answers, but this is something. You see, the conflict going for long. And much of this, what it is about, you hurt me. You hurt my heart. You see, you make an injustice against my heart and against my faith. You have no right to do this. You should not have done this. And if you cannot come and say, yes, we did this. You know, you have done bad things, but I also did bad. And I will start with the first apology. I apologize to you. Because I see your children, they're no different from my children. I want to see a future for my children. I want to see a future for your children also. Then something may happen. Something may happen there. But treaties by themselves won't do. Grand agreements won't do. You must cut back again. You must become human again. You must come to the heart. You must speak to each other from the heart, not from the head. You cannot negotiate. You must commune and speak like this. This is why children sometimes achieve more than adults. Because they go and they confront and they speak up and they say, I don't want to live. They say, I don't want to live with you if you're going to be like that. You brought me here. God bless both.